Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane this morning, and we'd love to hear from you. Text us on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email us direct. Shouldn't a little phone come over the horizon now when I say direct?
Oh, yeah, we'll have to sort that out.
What was the tune to that? Oh, yeah, you can direct through the Absolute Radio website. What was that? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
I'll remember it in a minute.
We'll start. Let's start.
We've had a tweet from Trevor Feelgood.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of people interviewing the Muppets at the moment. Has Frank seen anyone interviewing Miss Piggy yet? Well, we know your views on this, Frank.
No, well, one of my what I would put in Room 101s is people interviewing Miss Piggy as if she was a human being, and even indulging in flirting with something which is, I think, is latex foam. To be technical about it. Yeah. And I find that also, but I can't watch any Muppet. I name that one because the extra layer of flirting, but any discussion with a Muppet. When you're on the show and you've entered Muppet World, but when they're on, like, Titchmarsh, and he's saying, so Gonzo, how did you get into, what did you get into?
That's good.
And he's, oh yes, as if that's all right. As if it's normal for something.
I hate it when they play along, Frank, and they go, being an international star like yourself.
And all that
Shut up.
Yeah, as an international superstar, Miss Piggy.
Piece of old foam with someone's hand up
foam.
you. Sorry.
No, it was, I don't like it. And also, I find that they're given the sort of benefit of the doubt for being artificial. So, if they say a joke, if I said it, it'd be a bit of a... They get quite a good laugh on it because you think, that's quite good for something that isn't real. But in fact, there's a person underneath doing exactly the same job I'm doing, less well, and getting, like, applause and big laughs. Yeah. They think, these comedians, they got it easy, you know. Look at the laughs I'm getting. You're doing that because you're going, don't you touch mine!
It's really pressed his button, this Muppet thing, hasn't it?
Do they get programme associates credits, people operating the Muppets?
I shudder to think like that. The truth is, all this, the Muppets, but the Muppets organisation just shove them in boxes after, like any other prop. You know, they're not cared for.
And you know, they're fastidiously clean. They don't like dirty jokes attached to the Muppets. When I was in Montreal, the comedy festival there, you know, there's a phrase, work clean, that the Americans use if you don't do dirty jokes. Do you work clean, Alan?
An
American comic once said to me, do you work clean?
I'm glad they didn't ask Frank in the 90s.
Exactly, yeah. But apparently there was somebody in a lift when I was in Montreal who said, I mean, I can work clean, but this is Muppet clean. Because they had to remove a mention of alcohol or something. Like, they can't even mention it. In a joke that was about not drinking, and they said, you can't even mention drinking.
Oh, well, no, they think it's substance abuse over there.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I like the Muppets in their context.
In Muppet World?
Yeah, in Muppet World, that's fine. It's when I don't come into our world.
Don't put them
on
the...
They were very much in our world. They were in the lift.
No, we went to their world, though, didn't we, in those days?
Yeah. But don't put them on the This Morning sofa, is what you're saying.
I'm happy to watch it. Well, only Mr. Peter used to know. And then he
getting all the impressions out today.
Oh, God.
Alan Titchmarsh.
Cole Shaw.
We've also had a text, an email actually. Hi Frank, Emily and the Cockerel.
Did they direct through the Absolute website?
They did, yeah.
Okay.
Which is what? What's the address?
Absolute.
Yeah.
Google Absolute, just do that.
Hi Frank, Emily and the Cockerel. Love the show. Oh, I shouldn't have read that bit. And I think I am your youngest listener at 13. I
think I'm your long.
Oh.
You know, in Reader's Digest, when they used to be like, I am John's pancreas, and it used to be a whole thing about being a pancreas from the point of view of being a pancreas.
Really?
I thought that's what this was going to be.
I don't like it. Sounds a bit Muppets.
You look at me like you've never read the Reader's Digest, Alan.
I used to write in the Reader's Digest.
Did you? What did you write?
Wrote a little column for them for a little while.
Is this like Frank played for Barcelona?
No.
Okay.
Was it I am Alan's kidney?
Yeah, basically. It was my major organs.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have more of this in a minute.
Hang on, I'm reading an email.
Well, that's all right. I've got to play music. That's in the rules.
We'll come back to both.
And I've told you the adverts thing. I have no choice.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we were back at the email. Hi Frank, Emily and the Cockerel, love the show, and I think I'm your youngest listener at 13. I'm a first-time writer, and I'm just wondering why you call the show's listeners readers.
First-time writer at 13. That's broken Britain. Why would we call them readers?
Why do we call them readers? Surely they listen to, not read the show. Hope you can tell me why. Youth offender number 946. That's good.
Excellent. I love a youth offender.
Yeah, youth offender's
I
a
was
good
one.
touch.
You see, it takes the voice of youth to go to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? Because you thought, well, hold on, we don't read, we listen.
It's a she, actually. I
Oh,
think.
is it? Sorry.
It's all right, wasn't explained.
What's the name?
Neve. That's in the email address. She's actually just put youth offender.
Oh, I like
number
Neve. It's all a bit bewitched, isn't it?
No, but he's probably
He's in
using
the girl
his mum.
band group.
He wouldn't have his own email at 13, would he? It's probably his mum's.
Isn't Neve a she?
Neve's a girl's
Yeah, but that's his
name,
mum.
love. Why
Do you
is it?
think?
He wouldn't
I
have his
think
own
he's-
email at 13,
I think
would
at
he?
13 they'd have their own email. They're probably
They have their own email
on
when they're like
smartphones
7 or
and stuff.
something.
Yeah.
Buzz at btinternet.com.
No.
We need to talk.
No way. No way. Well, yeah,
How
you know,
did
it's a
that
very
start?
good question, though.
How did that start, the readers thing?
I think it started as a slip, didn't it, on my part?
Oh, maybe.
And then I think it's because our listeners, if I'm going to use the word for a bit, just come across generally, and bear in mind that I have Alan and Emily reading the text to me, so I don't see all the ones that say, I hate you. Why don't you just...
We filter out the protest.
We
the
see
dirty
those.
protest.
You see
yeah.
them, but
We
I'm
see
fine
them,
with that.
sadly.
And so I think that they are...
Kim Jong-Un approach.
Our listeners are seem so bright and funny and witty. I sort of think of them as readers, you know what I mean?
That's right,
Bookish and clever,
yeah.
Yeah.
rather than just sitting there and soaking it
The
up.
pendulum swings on that, doesn't it? From them being people in black jeans and Converse trainers and tour T-shirts to then them being readers.
Well, but you see, I think
They've got both.
that a lot
They've
of
got
people in Converse and black jeans and T-shirts are actually quite sharp, bright characters. People look at them and think, oh, beer belly, fool.
Do you know
not
what? I'm
true.
really glad you said that, because that's all our listenership.
Beer Belly
Well, yeah.
Fool is the dessert that I made this week.
Oh, really?
Not really.
It sounds all right, because it's a bit like that. What's that food? Wobwally something.
Bouillabaisse.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Bouillabaisse. Yes, like
Bouillabaisse.
that. That's French for beer belly.
It's not.
It is.
Also Frank. Da-da-da-da. Wasn't that direct line?
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Does that make good radio? I'm not sure. But it's, I like
Oh
it.
no, let's hear about you writing
not
for the
here to
Reader's
make-
Digest. That makes great radio.
Anyway, so can I say, Neve?
Yes.
If that is you, that yes, it came accidentally, but like Sigmund Freud would say, it was probably because in my heart I felt read rather than listened to.
Okay.
Next, yes, Reader's Digest you wrote for.
Yeah, let's hear about your Reader's Digest columns, Al.
Hey, we're all here amongst us are published writers, yeah? It's just good to be part of that Venn diagram, which I've been slagged off for saying Venn diagrams on the show.
Have you?
Yeah, you know, somebody texted in. Anyway. Yeah, I just used to write a little...
What was it called?
I don't even know what it was called. It was
Was
just
it
like
a
little...
Northerner's View?
No, that would have been good, though, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Maybe I should suggest that to them and see if they rehire me.
Yeah.
It was just like a
Bargain
little...
tips.
That's another one.
Oh, I bet it was
Hang
called
on, that's probably the
Pennywise.
same. That's good, yeah.
It was so
In fact,
called
he's
Pennywise.
actually used the name
Hey.
Pennywise as a pen name.
Oh, that'd be
And
good.
it
My
has-
nom de
does it-
plume should be Pennywise.
It has things like light a match. And
My
when you
mum-
go to the bathroom to save on air freshener, Frank.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fine line.
And lighting.
What a way to go. That all went up. And my mum used to read a magazine called The People's Friend, which sounds like something that Stalin would have written. And there was an article there. Everything was written by women except one article, which was by The Man Who Knows. I hated The Man Who Knows.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
You never really said what your column was about, though. You think I'm going to let it go?
It was a little short column just about, like, funny stuff, things that I've thought.
Yeah,
like,
you're a
little-
humorist. That's what you
something
are.
like that, yeah, I suppose you could say. I'm trying to think of what it was called now. It might have been
Was
called...
it
that.
Brandrethian?
Yeah,
The Cockerel
very,
Crows?
very similar.
Was it the Cockerel
I don't think
Crows?
I was known as the Cockerel at that point, but,
Okay.
you know,
When would this have been?
a couple of years ago, I think, I'm guessing.
I'm surprised you never mentioned it before.
Well, you know,
Okay. I've had we had the boiler went this week.
Oh,
yeah.
I hate it when that happens.
I mean, we had a big argument and she just walked.
1973.
Exactly.
How nice to see you again.
And I said to my mother-in-law, can I smell your feet? Anyway, we'll leave it there. And she
uses a smoke alarm timer. That's one of my favourites.
It was awful because...
Why?
Well, because we had no hot water and no heating in the house. And I know there'll be many people who are listening to this and saying, yeah, what's your point? But I mean, we generally do have that. And I had a big sort of photo shoot type day, and I thought, well, I'm going to have a wash.
Well, we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Did you have to put the kettle on and have a wash?
Well, what I did, I thought, I'm going to have a cold shower. I can do it for one morning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you didn't do a prison wash, did you?
It was, so I put the shower on.
Yeah.
And picture this, I was naked. I opened the shower door.
Did you have to say that?
I did. I opened the shower door.
No,
I
hang
guess
on.
that if you're having a shower, I don't think you're in there in a
Can't
bathing
get it out
suit.
of my head.
And I stood.
I still can't get it out of my head.
I stood at the gate of the. I stood at the door of the shower, and it was like, you know those men who jump from the rocks in Acapulco. That moment when they must think, I can't do this, and then they jump. I thought, I just can't. I can't get into this shower, and I didn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it.
I love this story about you not getting into
In
a
fairness,
shower.
they usually do jump off those rocks at Acapulco, which I think is...
What they say that they
more
do,
scary.
apparently, their technique is they imagine their sort of spiritual self getting outside of their body, going behind, and then pushing them.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
I tried that. I couldn't get in the shower.
Your spiritual body couldn't push your real body.
To be honest, there isn't much room in that bathroom for the spiritual body to get out. He didn't quite get out. He just sort of shuffled backwards a bit.
Right,
So he was still partly...
Not enough purchase.
Yeah. I just, honestly...
So what did you do then? Did you do prison wash at the sink?
I did... Well, I had to wash because I was being photographed by the Sunday Mirror. It was quite a big thing. I had to change outfits and stuff, so they would have, you know...
You need to look box fresh for that.
Well, exactly.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you like my penitentiary shirt today?
I do.
Do you?
I like it when you dress a little bit like you're pretending to be a boy so that you can get through a Shakespeare play without anyone finding out you're actually a princess. Because we found out you were a princess many, many years ago, I think. No, I do it. But you always look so well turned out.
Thank you very much.
We've had a text, Frank, saying from 411, saying, feeling your plight, Frank. I've had no hot water since November the 30th. Brrr, cold showers not funny. I just like the fact that it's got brrr in there.
Yeah, but that's a long time,
It is a long time, and I like the mystery in there. Like, why? He's not telling us, or she.
Yeah,
Good.
but he might be homeless, and he might just be that real rainy spell we had in. He might be just talking about that. I don't know. You've coped.
What did you do? Baby wipes, let me guess. Baby wipes.
No.
Well,
Dry shampoo.
What I did was I boiled a kettle, and then I boiled another kettle, and then I boiled another kettle. I got over the sink, and I did myself
An injury.
one piece at a time.
I don't want to know anymore.
It took ages, but yeah, I did myself in sections.
You've said too much.
And you know, it's a bit like the
that.
Forth Bridge. By the time you've washed your hair, you have to start your feet again.
Nice.
Is it working now, the heating?
It is. When I got back, a man had been in.
I bet that was
looks
joyous,
very well
wasn't
turned
it?
out today, doesn't he? Looks clean as a whistle.
There you go. Oh, but it's good to have these things now and again, I think, because I had a hot shower this morning and I thought to myself, this truly is a wondrous thing. And marvellous that the water can be heated in this way by electrical equipment. I never think that.
Metal bird in sky?
Exactly. I'll be thinking that again later. I always have it when I watch cricket on the telly. I will say to my girlfriend, I'll say, can you believe these people are actually playing cricket now in a different country? And we're watching, as it's actually happening, we're watching it. That bloke is there now. He's doing that. We can see him. In colour.
Can I ask you a question, Frank? Do you book phone calls to Australia 4 days ahead?
I never phone anyone in Australia.
Oh,
I thought it
Not
was one of
since the
my.
Ashes, I can't.
I thought it was
face
one of my catchphrases. Was it's amazing what they can do now. But it seems like it's.
But I can go through all sorts of things, but when the cricket comes on the telly live, I am beside myself, as my spiritual body would say, when it was going to push me.
When there was enough room for him.
The thing that blows my mind is there's some hotels have mirrors that don't steam up. They've put a thing behind
Is
the
that
actual.
right, Al?
You know, you have a shower and you get out and you
Yes.
expect a mirror to be steamed up. I was in a hotel the other day and it just had a big circle where my face would be, totally non-steamy, and I just think, how do they do that? That's amazing.
That's incredible.
I love
Amazing
that.
what they can do now, isn't it?
What do you think that's Vaseline on the glass?
Who's been in that hotel room before you?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But I'd missed that. I missed that bit when you sort of
You missed it?
scrape a bit out. You know, missed. Yeah, when you scrape a bit out so you can see your face.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. It's like the opening to some sort of crazy 80s pop video.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I had some news in.
Go on.
It's not
You
quite
don't
a
do the
hold.
news, do you?
It's not
You do
quite
the
a
news
hold in
now.
my hand, this piece of paper, but Nugget.
I spoke this morning with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler.
I did, but that's none of your business.
Okay.
Nugget has tweeted us.
He's touchy, isn't he?
Guess what?
Go on.
Cockaleeky's column was called Alan's Wallet. No, it wasn't. That was Nugget's joke, not mine.
Okay.
It was called Little Epiphanies. Am I correct? Nugget says.
That's right, yeah.
Well done.
Little Epiphanies.
I mean, a column entitled Little Epiphanies is still available, should there be any publishers listening.
How long were you in the digest?
I don't know, I think about a year and a half, something like that.
I've decided I'm going to start reading it again. I'm
Are
going
you?
to subscribe today.
I'm not in it now, so...
No, that's why I'm going to start reading it again.
Ouch!
No, I don't know if I used to read it in waiting rooms. That
Yeah.
traditional way of reading it. Now I'm going to go back. Anyway, look, I went to Hayes last weekend after the show,
Oh.
which is an area of. Well, it's not an area of London, is it? Does it qualify?
I'm not the right person, darling,
Yeah.
for
Was it
outside London information.
Was it a nice day?
It was a nice day. I thought
Did you make haze while the sun shines?
I walked into that. Now, what happened was that there's a company called Autographia, and they stage sort of autograph and photo sessions.
How do they?
So they take over a hotel, kind of, and have lots of famous people in. And they sort of, people queue up to have the photo took and pay and stuff. Anyway, I'd been tipped off that Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon, was going to be there.
Oh.
And as you may know, my son is named after Buzz Aldrin. He's called Buzz. You see, I didn't try and mess about with it. I just did that. And
Real name
and so
of Buzz Aldrin?
Edwin.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Although there was a nickname for him, it's the proper name for my son. And in fact, well, anyway, I got a photograph of. Well, me, I had to hold Buzz because the original Buzz is 84, and I think he's a great man, but I wasn't going to trust him to hold my son.
I mean, even if he has got some sort of engineering degree, still.
Yeah, exactly. And if he did some terrible injury and you had to spend the rest of your life saying, well, weirdly enough, he was dropped by the man he was named after.
Punchline would wear thin.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I never know whether Buzz at 84 might think that weightlessness is still... he might just let him go for a bit of a laugh.
Did you tell him he was named after him?
I did. I said,
So what
I
happened?
named him after you, and he said, he looked at me to say what's his name, and I said it's Buzz, and he said double Z, and I said, I thought either he's some odd alternate spellings, or he's fallen asleep, and that's him snoring. Snores in a sort of speech bubble kind of a way. And I said, double Z, and he went, "Hi, Buzz," and then went straight into the pose for the photo. But it was very exciting, and I've got this photo, and I'm so pleased and thrilled to have this photo, Big Buzz, Little Buzz. And I showed it to someone, and they said, "Oh, you should have had a Buzz Lightyear." There's only 2 of them now out of the 3. I was
Oh,
dragged,
who said that? That man from McFly?
I was dragged down.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a good text in from Ian Angel. Is it Angel we've decided it was? Angel,
Yes,
I think it was,
Ian
yeah.
Angle.
Regular texter often comes up with a funny pun.
He does.
Here we go. How about that? You wait ages for a buzz and then 2 turn up at once. That's good.
Oh.
You see, that's why I
Top
can't
quality.
read it.
Yeah, exactly.
The elation on Frank's face at the pun.
Oh, I love it. I
So
love it.
when you went to the hotel full of people that were going to be giving out autographs, was there not a slight danger that people might have thought you were going to be in like
Well,
room
yeah.
406
Well,
signing out
I
autographs?
thought about this because everybody there, you don't
Was less famous.
You don't get no.
Other than
I wouldn't
Buzz
say
Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin was less famous. But for example, there was a whole wall of the girls from Octopussy.
Is that right?
And they were signing photos of them. You know Octopussy, the Bond film?
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
confused.
Did you get their autographs then?
It
I'm
is
sort of-
at a local club. That's
I'm
what I think.
confused that there's a whole wall of them, like rather than like you mean like sitting at a desk or
Well,
something.
they're at desks.
All right, yeah.
So they sit under pictures of themselves.
Oh, they haven't got bikinis at desks, have they?
no,
I
no.
can't abide that.
They sit under a big poster of themselves, how they looked in Octopussy.
Oh dear.
Oh, that must be
cruel.
nice for them.
Very cruel. Indeed, yeah.
Not photographs of me aged 16 looking hot.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But they signed. They were £15 for a signed photo of them. And I did sign quite a few autographs while I was there, and I did think,
Are they free?
well, obviously, I'm not going to say. Someone said, "Can I have your autograph?" Yes, that'll be £20, please. I couldn't, I mean, if you're in an event,
That's like people giving out the free newspapers outside newsagents. It feels like you shouldn't really do it there. It's like you sort of.
well, I didn't.
Oh, Alan,
I wasn't forcing
save
it on
that.
people.
Save that for your Pennywise column. That's next month.
Have you had a little epiphany? Well, get out.
Do you know what, Frank? I'm so glad. I do love the name Buzz anyway.
Yes.
I'm glad you named him after Buzz and not Neil. Because that's a bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's setting the bar too high, isn't it? The first man.
Yeah.
You don't want to
be the
spend a whole
second.
life trying to be. So Buzz has had. He's looking quite well, Buzz Aldrin.
We just saw the photographs, actually.
Yeah, he has
he's
had
looking really well.
he's had a
Deep tan.
He's had a facelift.
Frank, you can't say that.
No,
definitely-
I think he owned up to it. He was asked
did he?
in the paper about it, and he said that the G-force, all that G-force had slackened his gels.
Yeah.
But I think he was joking. I'm pretty confident he was joking. But yeah, so it was really exciting, and it was great. I couldn't help thinking, when I'm 80, am I going to be wearing an England football shirt and signing photos somewhere?
Next to Mini Frank's.
There are worse ways to go, aren't there? I think it was all right.
Don't have a facelift, though, Frank.
Bozzy's autograph, by the way, in case you're wondering, £350.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us. Go on. We've already had some good ones this morning on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio or email the Absolute Radio website.
We've had an email in from Richard Hatch. Hi, Frank. How about this for a mind bender then? You sitting at home watching the cricket, and because of the huge difference in the speed of light and sound, you hear the thwack of leather on willow before the people in the stands. Well, it blows my mind anyway.
Is that right?
Rich, first-time writer, medium-time reader. I love Richard.
If that's right, that is even. That's.
Wow.
Sorry, that's absolutely stunning. I once I was at the World Cup and we were watching. I didn't go to every game, but so one of the games we watched in an outdoor cafe in South Africa, and there were several other outdoor cafes on the same street.
Yeah.
All watching it on big screens, and every big screen was like a slightly different timing. So you'd be watching, you think, "Oh, this is a good attack." You'd hear, "Oh," so you knew they'd missed. It was the whole time thing went.
It was a spoilers fest.
It was. It was like it went timey-wimey and all that. I couldn't.
Frank, we've had another text in regarding Buzz's autograph prices.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
877. $3.50 was his lowest price. A mission inscription was extra. If you wanted his autograph on something that already had Armstrong and Collins' signature, it was nearly £915.
It's funny if it goes off if it's on with the other two. He obviously knows what they're worth, doesn't he? So if you get all three...
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was saying earlier, Collins is the worst, let's be honest.
What?
Oh, come on, it was in that stupid little thing. It was like a little sidecar on Wallace and Gromit. It wasn't even a proper craft.
But
you couldn't even get on the main one.
If you
I
ever
believe I called him the designated driver of that.
No, but it's a bit like having, like, in the films, the person who's driving the car for the two mobsters,
Yeah.
so they come running out the bank and he's waiting. He's often quite a nice guy who's been sort of grabbed in. He's just, he's struggling a bit at home and he just needs the money. He's not prepared to go in there with a gun, but he will drive the car. That's how I'm seeing Michael Collins. And also, my son's called Buzz Cody Collins, so...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I should have gone Buzz Neil Collins, and then that would have been an extra £900 the registrar told me.
Yeah. We also had somebody text saying, I saw you at the Autographica show held in Hayes, brackets London Borough of Hillingdon for some reason.
Oh, well, that's because I wasn't sure where it was.
Yes.
Oh, really? Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Carrying little Buzz. Spaceman Aldrin changed his name by deed poll to Buzz some years ago. £350 to £1,000 for his autograph must have made it well worth the change. And then a smile.
Well, I spoke to... He just got fed. I suppose he thought, I'll save time if I don't have to do those inverted commas around Buzz.
Oh,
He's thinking time. I once had this conversation.
Who checks up on you if you don't change your name?
I was talking to Sarah Cox, and she used to be Sarah with an H. Have I told you this before? And then she changed it to Sarah with just S-A-R-A.
I don't know, but it might be the 90s.
Cox, yeah.
And I said, think of the time you've saved signing autographs by not having to do that H. And I said, if we contacted H from Steps, asked him how long he'd spent signing autographs, we could work out exactly how much time you'd saved. Interesting piece of mathematics, I thought. Well, what were we talking about? Oh, I was talking to Bruce Sandless, who was the first man to walk in space on one of those walks where it's machine driven. You're not on a lead.
Oh, they don't
you're
count.
Really
I hate those.
Oh no,
ones.
they're the really dangerous, exciting.
Oh, are they? Oh, I like them.
They're all
then.
frightening. But he said that over breakfast or something, Buzz had been saying that he was thinking of changing his name by a deed poll to Buzz Lightyear Aldrin. He's covering every possible.
I bet there was money involved, wasn't there?
Oh God, I love him.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what we haven't talked about this morning.
Well, that could be a long list.
The conscious uncoupling.
Oh, yes.
That was a phrase none of us knew before this week.
No, I bet Buzz Aldrin's done a bit of conscious uncoupling, hasn't he?
All right.
When they separate from the mothership.
I bet you've done a few unconscious couplings.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you say that to me?
In the Pernod years, not recently.
And the Pernod years are the hardest.
They decided to split up.
Yes, it's Chris Martin and Gwyneth Pig, as we like to call her.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
And they went civilised, didn't they?
Very.
I don't like civilised. I like lawsuits.
Well, you could join the rest of the media who do not like civilised because people have really reacted badly. Putin's had better press than they have this week.
I know.
He hasn't split up.
And Kim Jong-Un. No, I don't
Has
think
Putin split up? Call me.
I don't think so. Call you.
He looks all right. But he bought her a picture of a bird in flight to celebrate the new stage in their relationship.
Oh, like the bird had flown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've gone on holiday, which is pretty impressive.
To celebrate this, not to celebrate, but
just have a little. I think it was like a little calm before the storm thing of going right. Let's.
It's
just
to celebrate the new stage in the relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I like to bake a pedigree chum pie to celebrate the new stage in the relationship. I'm actually impressed by them. I think it's amazing if you can pull that off.
Yes.
But I can't, I'm afraid. I'm too bitter.
People are bitter that they're trying to pull it off, aren't they? It seems like much of their bad press is about them just trying to be nice, I think. That seems like people really resent that if you try and act like a grown-up and
No, I
Don't
think
upset your children and all
I
that.
like a bit of the conscious uncoupling and all the niceness.
Yeah,
I think.
seems-
I mean, I must say, I wouldn't let any husband of mine who was in a band feat Rihanna. You remember when they did the song that feat Rihanna?
Yes, I do remember feet.
Well, once I saw on his list of where I'm going today, are we going to do China? What's it, China Prince or something?
Yeah.
Once I saw feat Rihanna, I'd say I don't think so. But
I love that's
she's
become a new euphemism. You've been out all night featuring Rihanna.
So, Sarah Ferguson used to use it, I think. Johnny Bryan, what's he called?
Very good reference, Frank.
I wouldn't have let that go, I must say. They said that, that there's two people playing teacher now.
Yeah, one's student and one's teacher. There was one student, one teacher. Are they both teachers now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what they're
They're
saying.
taking it in turns
Oh, I
to
see,
teach
yeah.
each other about themselves.
They made a big fuss about
I think they're homeschooling, basically, is the short answer.
the Daily Mail laid into them for two people playing teacher. They thought that was
course they did.
it's a commonplace phrase amongst my friends in the S&M community.
Well, then it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know why they made such a big fuss about it.
I just feel sorry for them that what is nice about a breakup, let's be honest, is you do get the licence to be quite horrible about someone, just for a couple of months. It's like about a 90-day period, I think, isn't it? The hatred bender. And I think that's okay.
I think it's good to get... I mean, they probably are being horrible, though, behind the scenes, aren't they? I would have thought.
They're keeping quite dignified in the public eye, though, aren't they?
I mean, they've got the kids. They got Apple and Moses
Yeah.
to worry about.
Apple will be fine. She's strong inside.
I like you two. You've got a bit of Phil and Holly on this morning.
Yeah.
Apple's got a strong core, I think.
Very good. And Moses, I think, is on tablets at the moment.
You know what? Puns and sympathy, I can't bear this.
I like Apple and Moses, though. It's like they're marking off a biblical timeline. Apple, Moses. Sadly, they never got to the New Testament.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Email corner. We've arrived.
We have.
I have moored our boat.
Should we
in
start
Email
with
corner.
Liam from Liverpool? I think
I like the alliteration.
I think he might be one of my regulars. Hi, Frank, Emily and Alun. Or Steve, delete as appropriate. Oh, that's cold. I was just reading BBC News, and after reading a story on the friend of the show, Kim Jong-Un, I wanted to know the team's thoughts on the new North Korean law requiring all men to get the same haircut as their glorious leader. Dear leader, I believe he's called, isn't he? Would you be
That's
willing
his most common. He has several, I think.
Dear leader.
I think brilliant leader is another one as well.
Yeah.
Bashful leader. That's
Yeah.
one of the ones that they barely use.
Fat leader. So they call him the fat controller.
Would you be willing to style yourself after the great man?
What about miserable leader? No. Would I be happy? Well,
We should explain if people don't know. Well, most people know this story, don't they? He's made haircut rules, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So traditionally, I think the pre-existing rules were that there were 18 styles for
Acceptable, yeah.
women, 10 for men.
you know those...
Yeah.
do you remember the days when you go to a hairdresser's and there'd be a book that you'd look through with pictures of people having, you'd say, I'll have that, please, and they'd do it for you. There must be an 18-page book in every North Korean hairdressers, and you just pick one of the... I suppose
like
you just...
that.
And they all look like they're under police investigation.
I imagine you say, I'll have 2 number 18s, and have you got any prawn crackers? But, so you get done like that.
Yes, you do get done like that, Frank.
Yes, you do.
So you get taken off air. Let us trim our hair in accordance with the socialist lifestyle.
Is that what it
which
says?
is what I believe you said to me. No, it's what you said once.
Well, no,
That's what he says, yeah.
The one thing I like about communism is the lack of freedom.
Oh, here we go.
I like the fact... I don't know about you, but when I go into the hairdressers...
Too much choice.
And the bloke says, OK, what do you like? I always think, oh, just get on with it.
Yeah.
And the other week, I went into a hair... Well, not,
I never.
and I said to the guy, what do I always say? I always say number 3, back and sides, a little bit off the top. That's what my style is.
That. I'd love a style.
Number 3, back
what I wanted.
And he said, I think 4.
Oh.
And I thought... Don't ask. We're not bartering on my haircut.
Oh, right.
This is what I want. I said, no, I want 3.
What's the difference with 4?
Well, 4 is slightly longer, so
but you know what?
Frank would have to go back again sooner, and I'm the one that's considered thrifty. Was
that his motivation?
No,
Yeah,
I like...
Pennywise, that's something for your column.
I reckon Kim Jong-Un, I reckon he's 2. I reckon 2 all round. Maybe even
he
1
goes
all
2
round.
at the sides, yeah.
He's got the buzz cut. Well, they call it the Chinese smuggler.
Do they?
That's
what it's called,
If I ever
Frank.
met Kim Jong-Un, I wouldn't be able to resist just rubbing my hand against the grain of his hair on the sides just to feel that lovely spike.
If I ever met Kim Jong-un, I wouldn't be able to resist full stop. I think I can see myself in the compound.
No, I think he looks... I think he looks cool. I mean, if you're going to have a haircut...
Cool.
If you're going to have a haircut imposed on you, I'd be happy with that.
Cool.
particular-
Yeah.
I prefer that to Kim Jong-il, because he had the Dallas bouffant.
That was to make him look taller.
How was it?
Yeah.
I mean, we should all think ourselves... Considering that Kim Jong-un has got nuclear weapons, we should think ourselves like he hasn't imposed this on the whole world. If I see anyone on the telly or anything doesn't have this haircut, I'm going to wipe out the planet. Where's my clippers?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Kim Jong-un here on Absolute Radio this morning.
Yes.
Natch.
I don't know. I mean, I think you would pass muster, Frank. Don't you think?
Can
in
I
the
just-
Republic, because
can
your
I-
hair is regulation.
Can I just do my Kim Jong-un?
Please do.
Just for anybody that hasn't got a webcam, we all stood throughout that.
That's a friend of the show for world leaders.
Kim Jong-un is a friend of the show,
I think he is in a way, isn't he?
along with Ross Noble and Britain's Fattest Man.
He contributes.
Extraordinary.
He contributes.
Yeah, and Peter the Wild. Anyway, let's not list all the friends of the show.
Yeah, but I don't think Alan would pass muster.
No. Well, we've had a text in saying, what do you do in North Korea if bald? And not in North Korea, but in life, I would be delighted by baldness. I hate my own hair.
Do you know... Sorry, I'll continue.
I think I've had 5 good hair days in my entire life, and they've been completely random.
What you need to do is offend someone in the Russian government.
Yes.
You'd be bald in 6 weeks.
Eat some sushi.
I like your hair with a bit of length.
Thanks. I went for a haircut recently and tried to do the thing that my wife does of taking a picture along and saying, I want this haircut. And I Googled men's short hairstyles, and about 400 pictures of Brad Pitt come up. And you think, well, he could have any hairstyle and he looks good. David Beckham and Brad Pitt.
That's cruel as well.
And then one of a guy with a really funny afro. That was it. That's the lot.
Also,
Couldn't
they
find
shouldn't
a
show
picture
Brad
to
Pitt.
take.
That's like those octopusy women having to pose under the pictures of them
right.
age 22.
Well, I tried that. I just put in hairstyles, and I got about 5,000 pictures of Harry Styles. But that was a spelling thing.
See, I'd love hairstyles. I'd love hairstyles like his.
You know, I had a
He's
haircut.
got nice hair,
I had a haircut when I was on tour once,
Yeah, lovely.
and I went into the barber's, and he said, "How do you want it cut?" And I looked at there was a poster of me on the wall outside. I said, "Have it like that," there. And he did it like that. Picture of me with it short. I mean, but life isn't always like that.
No.
Oh, can I just mention, you were asking what do you do if you're bald?
Yeah.
In North Korea, though,
Yeah,
this is
in
not a
North-
general. This
No,
is not,
just
this
in
is-
general.
This is not the texting.
Very easy.
Smoke a
Lots of
cigar
balls.
is the answer to that. No, if you're bald in North Korea, I know the answer to that. Apparently, you're allowed to grow your hair up to 7 centimetres long to hide the balding.
What about if you're completely bald? What about if you like poor old Duncan Goodyear? If he fell out of a tree in North Korea,
Have they got them?
what would he have found? They'd have just caught him and took him straight to prison.
I imagine so, yeah.
It doesn't seem fair to me.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I'm not done with KJ yet.
Okay.
KJU.
Yeah, KJU. Well, two things I'd like to point out. One was one of the quotes, which I enjoyed from one of the Koreans, was, "Our leader's haircut is very particular, if you will." Does that sound like a man under pressure at all? But the other thing is, we've had a tweet in from Eddie who says everyone without exception should have to have a bald head and the same selection of wigs, e.g. Monday beehive, Tuesday mullet, etc. What do you think of that?
I think... would it actually say Monday on it, like children's bibs?
Pants,
You
yeah.
know, bibs with the Monday. That'd be just everyone has Monday on their head.
Yeah.
What I like, the idea of everyone having their head shaved, I think, has probably got pluses. I mean, that'd be the lice thing would be wiped out.
It's a great leveller aesthetically as well. You know where you stand with people,
The
don't you?
problem is people who manufacture swimming hats would be furious because their business would be in ruins.
Yeah.
But I don't see why we have to have the same wigs, why we couldn't have a variety of different ones. But
Yeah.
everyone with the same hairstyle on one day would look pretty startling.
Great fun, wouldn't it?
I mean, men and
Oh,
women
I'd
as
love
well.
it.
So everybody's got it. So it's like a fabulous art house movie.
But I'd make it, I wouldn't do short, I'd have to be like Dog the Bounty Hunter or something.
You
Dog
wouldn't
the
have any
Bounty
time.
I want
Hunter. Is that
every
your hair reference
man,
then?
woman and child has to have hair like Dog the Bounty
You know
Hunter.
what?
That'd
If
be
you
fine.
took a photo of Dog the Bounty Hunter into your hairdresser and said, "I want this," that would make me so happy for the following week, I think.
Does he dye his hair, Dog the Bounty
Dog the
Hunter?
Oh,
Bounty
what do you
Hunter.
think, Frank?
I don't know. You do get natural blonde people. Okay.
Liam Gallagher. I'd like Liam Gallagher hair. It's thick, innit? I just basically get jealous of people with thick hair. Martin Freeman.
Oh, no.
Thick.
They're hot. They suffer in the summer, though, people with the hot
Do
hair.
they?
Hot hair, that's... Yeah.
They get hot hair.
That's what my girlfriend... Whenever we watched the X Factor in the old days, Cheryl Cole would come on, she'd go, "Oh, hot hair." And she does look... It looked like she's wearing... You know, have you ever been out running in a woolly hat and thought, "I wish I hadn't worn this, it's
Yeah.
too hot"? That's what they're like all the time, those people.
Oh, really? I don't want that then. I'm backtracking. Glad you've
Fine.
made me see the
You
error
don't
of my
need
ways.
to worry, their hair arrives in a cab separately to them, it's
Oh,
fine.
does it?
Yes.
I'm not even going to say allegedly, it just does. Shall we do another email?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Oh, I like the sound
Allow
of
me.
turning a paper, it makes it sound all offline.
Allow me.
Okay.
Hi all. I've been listening to your
Hyle?
podcast.
Is this a Hyle?
Hi all.
Oh, God, thank you.
Higher. Pause.
I find
all.
the greeting Hyle
Comma.
not as popular as it was.
Especially after the chat about shaved heads.
Exactly.
Hiya all. I've just been listening to your podcast from January 2013. In between Saturday listenings, the joy of the podcast is that we're out there historically as well, isn't it? And took
Is that the
note
joy? I don't know.
and took note of your New Year's resolutions for last year. How did they go?
For this
Here
year?
No, for last year.
Oh.
For 2013. Here they all are,
goodness.
in case you have forgotten. Well,
Okay.
Frank, have a second attempt at drinking 2 litres of water a day and try to pickle herring.
I'm so glad there was 2 litres of water a day. I thought that was just to have a second attempt at drinking.
Well, it's funny you say, because what's happened with the drinking 2 litres of water a day is I've done a bit of a... Well, I've had a bit of a what would Jesus do? I've turned the water to non-alcoholic wine. I'd say I'm getting through 2 litres of that most
You're knocking
evenings.
that back, aren't you?
We gave you a crate, didn't we?
As for the herring, I think I've accepted now. I wasn't born to souse.
Did you try, though? You did try.
I had a go,
Lovely.
and inedible. The Guardian.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, Frank, you've had a second attempt at drinking 2 litres of water a day and tried to pickle herring, so
They both
that
failed.
was your New Year's resolution for January 2013. Epic fail. Here we are
Fail.
in 2014. Emily, jump out of bed in under 3 seconds every morning.
Depends who's there. Can be very swift
Do you have a
indeed.
moment
Can
of going, "Ugh."
can be so swift you wouldn't believe it.
Have you kept... It was this thing that your alarm goes off
Yeah.
and then you lie there. Do you
I
still
really
lie
tried. I hit the snooze button on life sometimes, but
there? I never hit the snooze button.
I know. Well, this is what I admire in you, Frank. I'm afraid it's at least 5 to 10 on the snooze
really?
still. No. Sorry about
not
that,
snooze
Frank.
button
How
for
long
us,
do you
no.
have exactly before you get up? You just get straight up.
Well, sometimes I'll have, like... if I've had night nurse, it takes me 3 or 4 minutes just to get my bearings.
You've got your panic button, though.
But if I'm in another... If I'm sleeping somewhere else, sometimes you get that, where am I?
Oh, I hate that.
But
And then you wake up and the bounty hunter's next to you.
I would always be out within 4 minutes max.
Really? That's two lots of snooze. 1 snooze is 5.
From waking to standing. Yeah.
Do you do snooze?
No. No.
Okay, calm down.
I'm awake, I'm up.
Oh.
Especially on Saturday mornings for this. Oh, I put the phone quite far away from the bed with the alarm on.
Good
so that I
idea.
have to get up to get to
Well, they
it.
tell you not to sleep within a metre of your brain.
Is that
The phone.
right?
Yeah.
Really?
So, it rots it during the night.
Oh, well, I don't stay in hotel rooms that are that big, so...
No.
Sometimes
I
they're a
don't
bit
believe
pokey,
that's right.
frankly.
I just put them in my sock. I think that's a metre, isn't it?
Did you read that in one of your New Age magazines? I don't believe that phone thing.
Do you not believe it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we
Rubbish.
could
I'm
get
gonna stop
to
doing
my
it.
New Year's resolution.
Yes, what was yours?
Well, it says, Alan, get a stretcher and a question mark, exclamation mark, which I think might be one of our comedy riffs. I think we might have been improvising away, and I went, oh yeah, I want a stretcher.
What
That's
happened to our comedy riff?
I think they peaked in January 2013.
Yeah, they were good.
But it also
occasionally.
says, and prioritise sleep. I remember being roundly mocked for that.
Prioritising sleep.
Yeah, I thought that was a great New Year's resolution to get some good sleep.
Prioritise
You
sleep.
mocked it.
I
But
still
then,
find it funny.
newsflash, 2014, my
yeah.
wife bought me a special pillow for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
She reckons you get 25% better sleep using this special pillow, and I am feeling much better rested. So there you go, newsflash.
Let's leave it there for a bit. I don't think we're gonna. Let's just think about that.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Don't look at me. Okay.
I'm going to look at you, because it's
Yeah.
the top of the hour. I thought you were
Hold
going
on.
to tell
I
them who
think
we
I need to-
were
I
and
think
how
I
to
need
get
to
in
get
touch
some,
with us and all that
I need
stuff.
to get some bandages on these wrists.
All right.
So, top of the hour, yeah. Well, yeah, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Well remembered, Cockerel.
Beautifully done, may I say. Beautifully done, our honourable leader.
Oh, what a pro.
Dear leader.
Yeah, dear leader.
I've got bubbles on my tea.
Dear
All right.
leader, I married him.
Frank, I don't like these bubbles. I'm gonna
It's
get rid of them.
it's from Jane Eyre.
I've got some sad
No,
news
it's-
for you and
It's
I.
from Jane
Frank.
Austen, actually.
No,
Dear
I think it's
leader, I married him.
No, it's not. It's Dear Reader. That's Jane Austen, isn't it?
Dear leader, I married him, I think is Jane. Isn't it Jane?
Is this today's
Right.
texting?
Maybe
Is
you're
this
right,
quote
mate.
from
Okay.
Jane Austen or Jane Eyre?
Let's find out.
Very commercial radio.
I'm happy to be proved wrong.
I've got some bad news
By,
for you and I, actually, Frank.
Bronte.
Mm-hmm.
Bronte, which is what Kim Jong-Un calls Debbie Harry.
Can you just say anything, Alan?
is that allowed?
Just say anything.
Here's the bad news for a couple of double hard, like macho alpha male guys like me and Frank Skinner.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a new hardest man in the world in town. It's a New Zealand doctor who stitched his own leg up after a shark attack.
Ooh.
And then,
Oh, I love it.
I mean, this is the bit, the real...
I'm sorry to interrupt. Breaking news.
Oh, yeah.
Frank's right.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. He then went
That's
to the
my,
pub for a beer. He got bitten by a
That's my
shark.
ringtone sorted.
Frank's right.
me saying Frank's right.
That'd be good. His name's James Grant, and he was spearfishing near Colac Bay in New Zealand when he, as he tells it, something latched onto my leg. I'm going to do the voice all the way through, because I did my Australian last week, so
Yeah.
this week I think we should do New Zealand.
It was inconceivably. It's even
He
worse
then
this
swam to
week.
shore and stitched up his leg using a first aid kit. I'd just gotten into the water, killed a fish, and something latched onto my leg, Dr. Grant told the
That's
BBC.
great. I like the order of things. That's
Here
the
we go.
food chain, isn't it, right there? I killed a fish, something latched onto my leg. It's just happening.
And then, I thought it might have been one of my diving buddies. Turned around, big shark had latched on. What I did was, I just put a couple of little stitches in to take it back
I'm finding
together.
this absolutely unbearable. This accent.
Absolutely unbearable. It's the new Australian show.
I thought that was alright, wasn't it?
No, it's not all right. It's awful.
One of my diving bodies.
That's
You know,
what they have, though. They have diving buddies.
Yeah,
you have to
I
go
don't-
down in pairs. You can't go on your own.
I don't have any
scuba diving.
diving bodies, I must say. Something
have had in
Imagine
the
Frank
past.
going diving.
Something I
Yeah,
don't
but if you don't
have.
swim, you wouldn't have diving buddies, would you?
Oh, shut your face. As it says in Isaiah, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. That's
Is
what
that-
I feel about this man.
Sure, that's not Charlotte Bronte.
I love this man.
No, it's...
I love this man. I like it when
Oh,
he went
it's-
to the local pub and they gave him a bandage because he was dripping blood on the floor.
Yeah, you can't apply that rule.
He's so Foster's
Some
ad,
pubs
isn't
in
he?
the north will just be full of bandages if they do that. Dripping blood.
An
it's
old
fine,
mate
isn't
of mine, Shane, he was a felt roofer. And perhaps I'll tell this story after
I like a
this,
felt roofing anecdote.
Yes.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Talking about this Aussie, well, you might have thought he was South African.
it? No, New Zealand. It was Kiwi.
Oh, I'm
I was
sorry,
doing
he was Kiwi.
I was doing a very accurate Kiwi, I think.
Well, I'm essentially testosterone intolerant, but I did something quite similar to this when I was on a walking holiday with my girlfriend.
Oh, let's hear what this is.
Stitched yourself up and fought off a shark on a walking holiday.
And then walked
Yeah.
into a pub with your leg dripping with blood.
I think I said something similar. I didn't
Which
say
is what?
exactly the same.
All right.
So what did you do?
Well, I went. We were going on a walking holiday, the coast to coast, in which you walk from the east coast to the west coast.
Oh,
across,
yeah.
across the Lake District and Yorkshire
Lovely.
Dales, etc. Beautiful. And I thought, well, I won't bother buying any walking boots. I've got those big chunky boots I used to wear in the 80s. Those bright red. Do you remember Art? Do you remember there was a shoe company called Art?
No.
Used to make big chunky metal things.
I think I know the sort of thing you mean.
Yes, a sort of thing that you'd see people in Camden wearing.
Like sort of radioactive Doc Martens. I know them.
Yeah, but like with lots of metal on and big chunk. Anyway, so I wore
absolutely.
those.
Absolutely
Turning my
disgusting.
stomach.
Anyway, so I walked in those and I got very bad blistering. And so what I did, and I heard this as an army thing, I sat with Kath that night and I threaded a needle and cotton. And what you do is you put the needle through the blister and then you drag the long length of cotton through the blister. And as the
Or to
cotton,
avoid buying a new pair of boots, just FYI.
as the cotton goes through, it soaks up the
moisture
liquid
from
yeah.
in the blister.
About £29 you can get them from. High Street store.
So, and I was doing it, and Kath lay on the floor, and I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, I've more or less fainted." So I'm lying on the floor to avoid the drop, but I know I'm about to faint.
which of course you don't believe in.
I
so
don't
it's
believe in
even
fainting.
even more of a problem.
I think what she did was essentially fainting, except that she forgot to just lie with her eyes shut and keep quiet, which is what fainters do. What fainters do. Do you remember that song?
No.
Okay. And I did that. I drained them like that. I had a lot of
drained your
I
own
had a
foot
lot of
blisters
a
with a
lot of
needle and
puss-soaked cotton. I'll say that.
Please, what is wrong with you?
Well, it did work though. They went down.
It worked?
Yeah, they went down to like, you know, when you find a bit of balloon after a balloon's burst.
Yeah.
If you don't find the balloon.
Did you find it quite satisfying?
I did. I found making her semi-faint. I thought was quite
Not
comical.
the draining of the blisters bit.
The draining of the bliss. What I've done is I stopped at a shop actually on the walking holiday and bought some walking boots. When he saw the boots,
Did
I was
you?
walking in this bloke.
What did he say?
He said, how far have you walked in these? And I said, 87 miles. He said, no, but in these. I said 87 miles. He said, you haven't walked 87 miles in these. Have you come 87 miles and then started walking? I said, no, I've walked 87. He was absolutely astonished. And so my advice is, if you go on a walking holiday, take a needle and plenty of cotton.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
We've had some texts in. Frank is right. Needle and cotton is essential when walking. I've used it many times and recommend it. Anna.
Okay.
Frank, I always do that with my blisters. It works. From 526.
What a day I've had. Jane Eyre.
Oh,
Needle
you're
and cotton
so
for
right
blisters.
Frank is
Frank
right.
lied right. I'm going to start calling myself.
If I was you, I'd be so happy about things like that, Jane Eyre. I just wake up in the middle of the night smiling about that.
Yeah. What are you going to wake up in the middle of the night thinking?
That's none of
about
your business.
Getting it wrong.
That's none of your business.
Okay.
That's between me and Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Someone's texted about the felt roofer. Did we hear your felt roofer
yes.
story?
Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah.
Who texted that?
240.
Thanks, 240. Yeah, I had a friend who, a very close friend of mine, called Shane, who was a felt roofer, and we went to a party. This was in my heavy drinking days. I dropped him off. We dropped him off at his house. Remember, he stood on the lawn and drank a whole bottle of Blue Nun wine. Just and
That's how they recommend you serve it.
yeah. And I said,
On a lawn.
I said, off to bed now then. He said, no. He said, I'm working. He said, I've got the van's picking me up in an hour and a half. So off we went. And obviously we had a designated driver. Did I make that clear?
Yeah.
He only had like 3 bottles. So this was the 70s things. We didn't know. Well, we knew, actually. We did know. But anyway, so I went to the pub the following lunchtime, and the gaffer said, "You haven't got your mate with you, have you?"
Oh.
I said, "No, he's at work." He said, "He isn't at work. He was in here earlier. He's in a right mess." And he'd fallen off the roof.
Oh, no.
And we got to this because you were saying about the sharp man had gone into the pub and they said, "Your leg's bleed," and they gave him a bandage. So I went and found my mate. He was in the next pub down the road, and he had fallen off the roof, and they'd taken him to hospital and said, "We're going to give you a tetanus injection," and he doesn't like injections, so he ran away. But he was in there, he was sitting drinking, and his nose had moved about 1.5 inches across his face, and he had 3 pieces of gravel stuck in his forehead.
Like some terrible bindi.
Oh man, it was. He was a hard man, and I find even if you're not a hard man, blue non, it raises you up. Well, it obviously didn't raise him up; he fell.
I like the idea that someone can fall off a roof and still be worried about an injection.
Yeah, exactly. And still got to the pub for 11. Yeah, he was a hard man. So I went for a very lovely meal this week. I was bought as I was given a voucher for a restaurant.
Groupon, yeah.
No, it was.
No, he likes her lunch and vouchers. Remember LVs?
Ah, yes. Remember that? What was that woman who used to? She was a madame.
Oh, Cynthia Payne.
Cynthia Payne.
Yes.
I've got my photo with her.
She was the ambassadress for lunch and vouchers.
She was. Anyway, so well, at the end of the last series of Room 101, my end of series gift, which can I say I didn't get one for my radio show. The rest is history this week because it's an Avalon production. I got nothing. Nevertheless,
expose the innards, why don't you?
Yes. But they, Room 101,
Your manager's going to be sitting at home.
a hat-trick production, they bought me a meal in a lovely restaurant and a tour of Kew Gardens.
Nice.
That's a lovely gift.
So we went, and I had pigeon as a starter.
Oh, no.
And you know what?
Was it a fixed menu?
No.
Did you have to? Were you feeling peckish?
It was the best. I did that thing that Kath really hates as well. I sat down and I said, "No, can we just establish one thing? I'm not paying for this meal, am I?"
You didn't say that.
I did say that. Because I can't enjoy a meal if it's supposed to be
felt
free.
absolutely ill.
Really?
But
I'm just thinking I can write that up into my column.
The pigeon was...
Pennywise.
Is it a little epiphany?
No,
sorry.
It's a Pennywise moment, isn't it?
I've found a new respect for pigeons.
Oh, pigeon pie's lovely, Frank.
It
no.
fell off the bone.
Oh, it does. It tends to.
Honestly.
I prefer it in the pie to in flight. I'm not lying.
Well, it wasn't actually in a pie. It was just there.
Pigeon?
exposed.
What, like pigeon what? Breast?
Like
Wing? What did you have?
Well, I couldn't tell.
Pigeon leg? I mean, I'm a big
Pigeon
fan
meat.
I'm eating a lot of grass-fed meat these days, but pigeons, they live off kebabs and bits of cake and litter, don't
Yeah,
they?
you do.
Frank
Frank Skinner. Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Ooh, I went into a pub in Islington this week. Islington is an area of North London.
Yeah.
I don't feel I should name the pub. Shall I? No.
Probably a Weatherspoons knowing
what's gonna
Mr.
happen?
Pennywise over here.
I was only having a Vimto.
No, it'll be one of those nice organic pubs. Maybe.
No, I'll tell you what was organic. I walked in there, immediately I walked in there and I thought, what is that smell?
Oh, no.
And there was a dog in there.
Oh, were you on your own in this pub?
No, I was with a group of work colleagues.
Oh.
And it must have been the management's dog, because otherwise it would have been thrown out. You know when a dog smells to the point where it gets on your chest a bit?
Oh.
It was... I'll tell you what it reminded me of. I went to the Tyson Lewis fight in Memphis. And after the fight, there was a bit of an altercation in the crowd, and an American policeman released tear gas.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought was a bit of an overreaction. But I always thought with tear gas that it just really hurt your eyes. But in fact, because I was quite near, I got a lungful of tear. It really, really hurts your throat and makes you cough, and it's terrible. And honestly, this dog, I'd say, was worse.
Oh, really?
What breed?
Filthy. It was black. That's the only... that's all I could help you with. I don't know breeds.
It could have been a white dog and it was just that dirty.
It's not when people say, what car is it? It's like a grey colour, silver grey. So it's a big black dog under... And honestly, how can that be allowed?
What, the stench?
Everyone had huddled at the very far wall away from it, and nobody was doing anything. It was a very British
like a tube
thing.
with one of those people on it.
What did it smell of? Just dog?
Just poisonous, acrid Zyklon B type vile filth is what it... The Guardian. That's my review on
Do you know, that's ending up on someone's eiderdown tonight. Have you thought of that?
Well,
Some poor woman sleeping with that.
Well, I imagine if you live with it for a while, you just don't smell it.
That's true.
But, you know, you're still in a... Honestly, it genuinely upset me. It's the worst thing I've ever smelled in my life.
Yeah.
And,
including tear gas.
you know what? It was the Charles Lamb pub.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, I tell you what I haven't told you about. I went to the Game of Thrones premiere recently. I say Game of Thrones premiere. They actually have a premiere now, just for the episode, just to show the episode.
Really?
What,
Yeah.
one episode?
Yeah.
So not like a premiere.
Season 4. Frank will hate me saying season. Season 4, Ep 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Industry lingo. Ep.
Were you going to suggest that they should show the whole series at the premiere?
Yeah, why not?
Box set. Whoa.
Make a night
12
of it.
hours. Have
Bring
to
your
do a marathon.
sleeping bag. People just on the red carpet in their jogging bottoms. That'd be good, wouldn't it? No? All right.
Al Murray was there. Jonathan Ross. Eddie Jordan. That's a rather random one.
Yeah.
Formula 1 boss. But I was waiting for Jonathan.
In case our listeners don't know, Game of Thrones is I'd say it's the soft porn Merlin.
Everyone knows Game of Thrones, but are you? And your friends in it, and you still don't watch it.
I started watching it because one of my friends, Buzzy's godfather, in fact, plays Lord Varys in it. But I really, really liked it. And I watched about 7 episodes and I thought, this is great. And then something happened and I missed a couple. And then you think, I'll catch up, and then...
And you never
And then
did.
suddenly there's 5 box sets ahead of you, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's daunting.
Too dear, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not thinking
just
that.
thought,
I've got...
I'll wait until I get a voucher.
I've got
for
Sky
a
on demand, so I can get the whole thing free.
Well, I got...
And you know someone who's in it could probably get their agent to send you it.
Speaking of Sky, can I just say, if there's any good artists, you
he's doing
should
a little
look at Sky. Look at the Sky website and enter the art competition, because it could change your life. Carry on.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So, we saw it. It was totes amaze. Went to the party afterwards, And it was awful because they had a VIP area in the middle of the party.
You found that awful?
I'll tell you what I found awful. It was a bit Marie Antoinette, it was a bit French Revolution, because it was just a little robe, and everyone was staring at you while you drank the champagne and they had the warm wine.
What, so you were sort of adjacent to the people in the non-VIP?
No, not adjacent, like a boxing, like in the centre, so people could look at you. It was awful.
What about when I went to Stringfellows with Jonathan Ross, David
You know we're on air. You know we're on air for this story, don't
we
you?
had our partners with us.
Okay.
So we had our partners, and there was me, David Baddiel, Mark Lamar, I think, Jonathan Ross, Tracy McClellan. Anyway, we turned up.
Mark Lamar, 1996.
It was packed, and Peter Stringfellow just went over to this full table of people and says, "Come on, move! Gonna have to move! Gonna have to move!"
Oh.
And they all got off the table, and he sat us down, and he put a velvet rope thing around the table.
Did he?
God. Oh,
it's
I loved
awful.
it.
That's
It's
living
awful, but
all right, isn't
you're
it?
right. I did love it.
I did.
Anyway, I
loved it.
got chatting.
I love not having to stand.
Yeah, obviously. I got chatting to one of the actors from the show. Lovely chap, John. He plays Samwell, just if anyone's fan out there.
Samwell District Council. Is that his name?
He's a very good actor, actually, but I was talking to him. Turns out he's a massive fan of the show. He listens to the show all the time. He's a fan of yours, Frank.
So he was chatting you up.
No, he wasn't. He was lovely. But he said at one point, Frank doesn't like Game of Thrones. He likes Merlin, doesn't he? I have never been so embarrassed. Merlin being discussed.
I don't think it's an either or.
It shouldn't be either or. Should
I am glad he brought up Merlin.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So there I am in the VIP area talking to my new friend from Game of Thrones.
the VIP boxing ring.
Yes.
In the middle of the room.
And the VIP cage, I'm calling it. And
Cage
then
fighting.
a man comes over to start to talk to him.
Can I say, to put this in perspective, I met Daniel O'Donnell on Thursday. Carry on.
Now we're name dropping.
That's the best name drop you've ever done.
I was happy.
Yeah.
He's worked
That
with
was
them
better
all.
than when you went on that tour bus with Nicky Clark and had a glass of champagne. Yeah, so he starts talking. We're talking, and then this other man comes over who's some producer man. And you know when you get frozen out entirely of the conversation? I felt like a spare part. I was like a spear carrier standing there.
Very showbiz, though.
I was gone. That was it. I was out. So I was angry with the producer man.
Yeah.
And he was talking, saying, "You're coming on the show next week." And so I was just in the middle of it. I don't know why I did this, Frank. He said, "Oh, this is Emily," John said. He said, and I said, "Yeah, I'm his agent." Why did I say that? Why did I say that, Frank? I felt sick thinking about it. There was silence, no laughter, no laughter at all. The producer man went, "Oh, great. Well, it's really good to meet you, because what I wanted to talk to you about a couple of appearances we're doing."
Actually, I know his agent. He didn't.
No, he carried on talking and I had to stop. I said, "Actually, I just lied."
Oh,
It was awful. And then my new friend from Game of Thrones said, "Yeah, it was actually very funny, Emily, but the trouble is timing's everything, isn't it?" I got it wrong. It was terrible. I'm going to leave the material to you two now.
What you should have done is carried on and hammered out a really good deal for that.
Oh, yeah, for
And then-
John.
And then maybe you'd be married by now. You'd be his agent, like Joe Bugner's wife used to be his manager. Remember Joe Bugner's wife? She'd have slotted into Dog the Bounty Hunter's
Like Sharon Osbourne. I could be like that.
You could, yeah.
Anyway, so I humiliated myself terribly. It was worse than liking Merlin.
It's good though. It's a good lie. What about this? My girlfriend had got a really horrible cold. I mean, really, it might have been worse than a cold. It seemed we were a bit worried it was something else, and she was just going out or going up to bed early because she felt, and she came over to give me a sort of kiss goodnight. And as she came, she went right into my mouth. I mean, I felt it hit the back of my tonsils. And I said, that's probably the most efficient passing on of bacteria you could do, is to cough in someone's mouth. And she said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous." Next morning I woke up, I felt absolutely terrible. So if you're wondering how to pass on your bacteria to loved ones, that is the answer. You know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Thank you so much for listening. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank